I would like to call to order the Winthrop School Committee meeting of Monday, August 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. This meeting is being held in the Harvey Hearing Room at the Town Hall 1 Metcalf Square. It is being televised live. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Leonard, Mr. Lettieri.
Here.
Mr. Matucci.
Here.
Ms. Petrie, Mr. Purinton.
Here.
Ms. Barry, Ms. Powell.
Here. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We do not have public comment in the room, but do we have anybody who has submitted public comment?
I do not.
Okay. Then moving on to delegates and visitors.
Yes, I wanted to introduce you to Susan Gibbons. This is Susan. Susan is the new pupil personnel director. You've had her introduction a while ago on paper. Sue's been with us since July 1st, has stepped into the role very well. We've maintained some communication with Jen O'Connell as needed. Jen had promised to do that for us. And speaking from experience, it's definitely a role that when you step into it, you need to have some level of understanding of what happened before you got here.
Yep.
So Susan has been great about asking the questions and looking into the various things. We've spent a lot of time together talking about the structure of special education in the Winthrop Public Schools, about the programs we have, about upcoming reviews through the Department of Education, as well as an upcoming review. Every few years, you have to do a review of certain aspects of special ed on your own to show the state of Massachusetts and the Department of Education that you are doing your due diligence, making sure we're compliant. So we're going to be taking a look at speech and language and OT and some other services in the district to see if we are utilizing our staff appropriately and making sure we're maximizing the times that we see our students. So that review is coming. But basically just wanted to put Sue's face to the paper that I have been sharing with you. She has certainly, had to put a lot of time above and beyond what a normal workday would be to start. That'll probably last the whole year. But I have no doubt and full confidence that she will be able to achieve the goals that we have for our department. So I don't know if anyone has any questions for her, or thoughts, but this is Sue.
Excellent.
That's right.
Welcome.
To remind people, Sue was here as a special education teacher and a special education chairperson for many years, and left back in 2013 or 14, somewhere around there, and spent some time in Marblehead and most recently Somerville, as you recall from her resume.
Excellent. Not to completely put you on the spot, but what are you looking forward to for the coming school year?
Building relationships. I've already started some of that and getting to know the district's changed since I was last here, but getting to know the district in a new way now.
Excellent.
It's hard to do when no one's here, because it's the summer recess, but there's definitely a lot to do to get the school year up and running. But I do think as aligned with the, principal goals and administrative goals is the building of relationships, which Sue came in with that for herself prior to really knowing that that's our goal as a leadership team to first and foremost build those relationships and the trust and get to know what's happening in each building and be able to speak from experience of being in classrooms, in hallways, meeting with staff, meeting with parents, meeting with special education PAC, the Parent Advisory Council, all of those things. And they do take time because there's lots of groups of people when you think about our public school. Each school building has, over 100 students with special needs in it and multiple programs. Each one of those programs is unique in and of itself. So to be able to get into all those buildings once school opens, will be part of Sue's vision and, her schedule to get in and not only meet teachers and say hello and put a face to a job title, but also to get a look at our students and see how our kids are doing within the classroom. So I know she's excited about that, and the teachers are excited as well.
This is Susan Gibbons.
Yes, Lane Petrie. So I was just introducing Sue to put a face to the resume. in the job, in the position, and if anyone had any questions for her. She definitely will be at additional meetings. This year, we'd like to do more updates by admin. So that's been a goal for a while. Sometimes we get wrapped up and we don't have the time, but it's definitely a priority, especially with, a new staff member in an administrative position.
Excellent.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best. Obviously, we're glad you're back, and if there's anything we could do as a committee to make the transition any easier, please feel free to ask. It's a big job where the budget's pretty consistent throughout the year, but your budget is one that can be a little more at risk. And again, anything we could do to make your transition easier, please feel free to reach out. And again, I agree with the superintendent. We have a ton of confidence that you're going to come in and hit the ground running. So thank you, Sue.
I appreciate that. I've already visited all the summer programs, so it's fun to see the kids and meet the staff.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Sue.
I can go throw my hat.
Thank you.
And please let the record show that we have been joined by Ms. Petrie, so she is present. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 14th, 2025?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Petrie, second by Mr. Lettieri.
Nope.
I'm sorry, second by Mr. Martucci. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Lettieri?
Abstain.
Mr. Matucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Abstain.
Mr. Purinton?
Yes.
Ms. Barry? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Powell?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve warrant SVW 26-2 in the amount of $129,273.07?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lettieri, second by Ms. Petrie. Any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Matucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Purinton?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the Gorman-Fort Banks use by the PTO for the kindergarten social on August 18th?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. May I have a motion for use of the Gorman-Fort Banks by the PTO for the PTO meeting dates?
Motion. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or opposition? Motion passes. For the class of 2027, a car wash on September 6th. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. And we do not have subcommittee reports tonight, but we do have, I believe, a superintendent's report.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick updates. You recall the reestablished residency that we do. So every student entering grade 3, 5, and 9 have to go through the process of reestablishing their residency, showing us all the proper documents to say that they continue to live here just as they did in kindergarten. It's always an ongoing battle to get people. This is usually the rush week where everybody who forgot to do this process starts calling us. We remind parents weekly, so even if you have responded already, you still get the canned email to remind you to do so. So as of today, in the 9th grade, 142 students are attending. 17 of those students are going to the VOC, which is interesting. That doesn't mean they're going to stay there, but it means they're initially starting there. And we have six families left at the high school to complete that process, which is really good as of today. In the 5th grade, in the 3rd grade, we're a little different. 163 students in the 3rd grade. We have 57 who have yet to complete the process. So they'll start getting notified every other day to complete the process. And in the 3rd grade, out of 156 students, we have 55 left to complete the process. We did notify parents last week, which is usually the spark that gets people to come in and do this at the elementary level, but also at the high school level. All of the notifications of your teacher, who you have for a teacher for next year, and at the high school, your class schedule, those all go out this week. We did notify parents if their students were not fully registered, they would not be receiving that notification. So that usually is the spark to get them to come in because they want to know where their child's being placed. And again, it's a recheck to make sure that people are still living in the community. People pay taxes in the community, and so it's a protection of tax dollars, and certainly our class size is important to us. We're not looking to get anyone in trouble or toss anyone out of school unnecessarily, but we have rules that you have to follow that have flexibility in them. So as they're written, there's flexibility in them in terms of if somebody can't produce a lease, we will do a residency check to make sure that they live there. So there's some flexibility in it, not a lot, but some, but it's a requirement. So that process is ongoing. Staffing, we have hired a lot of staff members in the past several months at the Gorman Fort Banks, a special ed teacher, speech and language pathologist, ESP, and 2 ABA tutors. Coming school, we've a third grade teacher, three fourth grade teachers, and a fifth grade teacher, a special ed teacher, a CET, a chairperson for the first time in 4 years, a full-time chairperson who is a internal employee who's been climbing up the ladder and applied for that position, and we're excited about that. And 2 ESPs. Middle school, from the changes we hired a math teacher, ELA, science, social studies, art, STEM, an ESP, and a Spanish teacher. High school, a Spanish teacher, an ELA teacher, a history teacher, and an ESP. And district-wide, PPS director, as you saw, and a physical therapist. We still have a few positions to fill. When I get to that in the report, in the agenda, I'll let you know where we're at with that. So a few more to go, and we're ongoing with getting that done. The opening day plan, Monday, August 25th, the teachers will be on-site at their buildings. There'll be meetings happening in those buildings with the administration, as well as trainings, classrooms set up, and individual grade level meetings will be taking place. And then on Tuesday, they have the good fortune of listening to me starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll all meet at the Neil Shapiro Auditorium at Winthrop High School for the opening of school address. They also have a 1-hour union meeting, so they should be back in their buildings at the conclusion of that union meeting, which is a contractual obligation that we have. And they'll be meeting with their principals and going over some general building level information. And then on August 27th, the students start. That's a Wednesday. So we have students on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday is off, and Monday is Labor Day. I think that schedule allows us to come back after Labor Day and hit the ground running, so all the kind of paperwork and check-ins and new students coming in, like all of that is completed, and then we have a little break and we come back and hit the academic ground pretty quickly. New teacher orientation is happening on August 21st. That's when all the new teachers come in, they meet with the new teacher mentors, they get assigned their mentors, they get their technology, we get them all their platform passwords and make sure everybody is ready to be up and running for the first day. They do a lot of new teacher orientation exercises together. We all go, all of the administration goes, says hello to everybody that's there, we introduce ourselves, and get to kind of put a face with all of the new staff that has come in. In other business, we have upcoming negotiations. As you know, negotiations have continued sort of at a slow pace due to the schedules of folks who are on the union, in their committee group. But we are meeting again with the teachers on the 19th and with the ESPs on the 20th. I expect a response to an email for more dates across the board for all 4 unions. So hopefully those September dates will be coming to us when we meet with the teachers on the 19th. Something cool that happened, we had a collaboration with Mass General Brigham Hospital. The purpose of the partnership was to help us enable students, primarily our athletes, because it was work that we work with Mass General Brigham with our athletic trainer, so we have a contract with them to provide us an athletic trainer so that we never miss an athletic event. So instead of having one employee, if that person was absent, we had that person, they were absent, we may have trouble getting a trainer to a game. Through Mass General Brigham, they'll send us a replacement. They cover the liability insurance and all kinds of other details that we wouldn't be able to cover ourselves. So having that relationship with them, we partnered with them to have a physician come out to perform physicals on students. So as many students as we could get who did not have updated physicals, so our student athletes have to have an updated physical every season. So they came out, ironically, the physician for the New England Patriots was the physician that came out, so the kids thought that was really cool. It took about 4 hours, and we had 60 students in total attend to get their mostly sports physicals that covered them for the entire school year. They had to have parent consent and whatnot. They did things like their height, their weight, their vision, blood pressure, and sort of an overall workup from a physician. And like I said, we were psyched, and the kids were psyched that one of the physicians happened to be a PATS physician. They thought that was pretty cool. You will also have, later on in the agenda, the handbooks, as well as the school improvement plans that the principals and the site councils worked on throughout the school year last year to prepare for this year. I provided those to you ahead of time. One of the things in the handbooks that you saw, and I sent you an email just to make sure you were aware, that there was a Supreme Court decision called Mahmoud versus Taylor, 606 U.S., and that was a Supreme Court decision that allows parents the right to, if they feel that there is a religious exemption in any of the materials or books that we use in our curriculum, to be able to ask to opt out of that particular piece of information that we're sharing. It does not mean that we send students to another room and say, I'm sorry, you can't participate in this. We have to give them an alternative to what we're presenting. So it's new. MASS and MASC have given us some guidance on that. The same guidance came from both groups in terms of what should be in a handbook. And then we had, during our administrative leadership sessions this summer, sat down to come up with a process for each school for when a parent does choose to exercise that right. So the right is to request. And then it's upon the school department to decide if it's a valid request and to ensure that we're following that request. So we worked on a plan, sort of a flow chart that starts with wherever the request goes. We'll have an actual form for that if a parent should request it. That form will come from the principal and be returned to the principal. We also have a form that if it comes to the teacher then forwards it to the principal, so the principal is the main party. Once that request comes in, there's discussion between the principal and either both Laurie and I or one of us, and then a decision is made and the parent is notified. And the teacher is also notified and supported as to how they could accommodate that request. We've never done this before, so it's going to be a work in progress, and we're waiting for more guidance from MASS and MAC. One more thing is relative to grants. So, sigh of relief. All of our grants that we typically get, the title grants, the IDEA Special Education Grant, and the 262 Early Childhood Grant. Those are all grants that support salaries and some other items such as materials, supplies, devices for students with special needs. They all came in at or about where they were last year, with give or take of some of the title grants went down a little bit. What's important to know is because we have salaries as part of those grants so that we can fully staff, our students, whether they're ML students or special ed students or in some cases general ed students, although they came in relatively flush, the salaries of people are not flush, because irregardless, salaries go up every year because of prior contracts and steps and lanes. So we've been battling that for the last several years. We budgeted conservatively for that. I don't know if they'll be here beyond this school year, but as of right now, they are in. So we'll probably be bringing you the actual budgets for those and have you vote to accept those moving forward. I just think it's a good general practice to do that. So Title I was $365,000 and change, Title II, $52,000 and change, Title III, $34,000 and change, Title IV, $27,000 and change. That also covers the funding of the mentors, the teacher mentors, which are required to be in place by DESE. We have to have, that's not a choice that we have to have those people, so you have to pay them. IDEA, which is the special education grant, which covers a multitude of costs for us, came in at $655,000. About $230,000 of that money pays for ESP's salaries. And the 262 grant, which is the early childhood grant, came in a little lower than I expected at $24,000, and that pays the salary of one ESP in the preschool and some materials and supplies. So we just got these, so now we're doing all of our, collecting all of our purchase orders and whatnot that we were sort of holding off on, starting to pay those. And that is all I have.
Okay, very good. And postings,
Yes. So.
resignations. and
Resignations,
postings.
yes. So Meredith Condon, who is an EL teacher, and I know that the resignations go in your packet, and I like to kind of speak about that because I do read each one of them, and I do have conversations with people, and we do ask them to do an exit report for us as to why they're leaving. And it's always nice to see that people are thanking you for being employed here, and enjoying the people that they met, and, then they give you the reason typically that they're leaving. They don't have to, but they do. And it continues to be commute, family issues, and sort of leaving the field of education. So far, in the last, I'll just go by the last 3 years because I have a little bit of squash rod from getting old, and, but I could go back and pull them. We don't get a lot of people saying they're leaving because of the salary. Now, whether they want to say that or don't want to say that is up to them. And we don't have people, hi Paul, we don't have people writing to us saying they're leaving because they felt discriminated against or didn't feel welcomed, or had issues with administration. And I think those are important points to make, because when you see a large amount of people leaving, you should be questioning why. And we do, but you wouldn't know that unless I otherwise told you. So Meredith Condon, an EL teacher, has left the fort. Kiara Campbell, an occupational therapist, and Katie Baker, a speech-language pathologist. 3 of the most difficult positions to fill, aside from the PPS director. We may have to go to an outside agency if we can't find people to work. So we put it on Indeed, we put it on School Spring, we phone a friend, we put it on listservs for superintendents in other schools, principals put it on principal listservs. Those are positions that are difficult to engage. What's more difficult is you have to have them by the opening of school, because if you don't and you miss service on kids, you owe compensatory time. And that can become costly. So we work that and weigh that out. When we do hire someone from an agency, we are not paying fringe benefits. So typically, I look at the hourly rate they're charging, compare that to what our salary is, and then compare that to the salary plus the benefits that we now incur. And usually we're flush, if not below. But there are times when it's a really difficult position, like a BCBA or a occupational therapist. Physical therapy is hard to find as well, although we found one today. We have no retirements, and then postings. Some of these postings are a little bit behind, but we had an ESP posting, the ABA technician posting. I believe we had 3. We put a hold on 2 because of cases, so we're only hiring 1 in the moment. Kindergarten long-term sub, elementary teacher at the GFB, a special ed ESP at the GFB, an OT, a speech-language pathologist, the EL teacher, and another elementary teacher based on a resignation. The other important thing to mention is we have 5, starting the year with 5 people on maternity leave, so people who either had babies over the summer or their maternity leave has carried over since June. Those positions have all been filled and covered by some internal staff and some external staff. And then in the queue, right now, we have 3 anticipated maternity leaves coming up by November. So those more will pour in. But those are other important pieces of information to have, because it speaks to how we're sort of covering those positions and who's facing children during those timeframes. And that is it for staffing.
Okay. Under new business, may I have a motion to approve the school improvement plan?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
So with the school improvement plans, as we have done in the past couple of years, I believe, again, mind is fading a little, but they put so much time and effort with the site council into developing those plans, and those plans, once they're developed and approved by the site council, come to the school committee, and they're speaking to the goals and sort of direction that this school year will take based on the input from the site council. We don't just take those and shelf them. We use them in our, leadership meetings, in our summer meetings to start to craft the goals for principals and administration, because like everything else, they should all tie together. So the school improvement plan goals should tie to the goals of the principals, the teachers' goals should tie to the goals of the school improvement plan and the administrative goals, and all of that should tie to the budget. We've done it that way now for 7 of the 8 budgets that I've been able to manage. It allows us to speak to the validity of what we're spending, the community dollars on, that they're coming from data, that to support the needs of the school, to support the direction the school is going, the goals for school improvement, et cetera. So those are in your packet, and if you would like, at a subsequent meeting, any questions that the committee has, we can bring in each individual principal. I think it's worked better when we don't bring all 4 in at once, and they just blurt and review a plan that you can read yourself, but more importantly, to have them come back so that you can ask for clarifying, clarity on any of the goals that you see in that improvement plan.
Okay. Since we have, I know they've been in the packet, but since we've not had a chance to fully review them, is the feeling of this committee that we would like to postpone that vote, table that vote to the next meeting?
I'd make a motion to table.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion passes.
Motion passed to table it
To
to the
table it
next
to
meeting.
next meeting.
So we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. People will have time to review it.
Yes.
If people would let me know if there are specific things that you may want somebody to be present at the next meeting, let me know, and I'll have any or all of the principals present. And if there's no need to do that, or need to do that in the future, certainly we'll have them come in.
Very good. Thank you. And may I have a motion to approve the student handbook?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
So the handbooks were not a lot of major changes, except for the one that I pointed out to you. We've done a pretty good job at aligning the handbooks with school committee policy, and any updates that need to be had in there. The importance of that being approved is it does go out to parents. It can always be amended. If there is an amendment to come forward, questions that you have, things that you believe need further discussion at any point in time, principals can come in, you can amend that handbook, and then it would be up to me to inform the principals that something needs to be updated, and then they would need to re-notify parents. But ideally, we'd like to have that in place when school opens, so we can continue our level of accountability.
Okay. And to clarify, the change in that with allowing for the religious exemption, the procedures for that are spelled out for parents?
So the procedures are not spelled out for parents because we have just spelled them out for ourselves.
Okay.
They don't recommend that you provide parents anything beyond their right to do so because, and then it doesn't necessitate a policy, and they didn't recommend any policy changes because it's inherent in the general policies of the school committee. However, if a parent does request, the principal will outline the process to the parent when he responds to the request. So the request will be probably electronic, where a parent would make a statement that they had a concern, or they read the handbook and they know they have a concern and they want to let us know, and then they would be provided an electronic form to fill out, and then the principal will contact them directly
Okay.
and say, I've received your form, here is what we're going to do next. They might have follow-up questions to get clarity on what the actual request is and what the basis of it is and what their background is and reasoning for wanting their child, for instance, not to read a certain piece of literature, not to be
Okay.
held accountable to read that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. I believe that the food service
The
civil rights
ongoing
policy
food
is-
service civil rights policy. We were supposed to have a policy subcommittee meeting tonight, although we weren't able to get a quorum to do that. We will continue, there are 4 or 5 other policies, and then we're going to be done with the policy handbook, and it will come back to the school committee for the full vote. And then it will become a living document that we have, I think, 3 years of work to get this to be a living document, and much easier accessibility for parents, so they can actually see it versus call and ask for a copy of the policy.
Excellent. And public relations.
Yes. Did I bring them, Patty, or did I not? Patty has them printed out. So I'll read them. So the 7th Annual School Supply Drive, run by Gabby and Joe Shea. Those are 2 students who, one is, I think, a graduate already. They run this every year on their own. They collect things from people in the community, and then they donate all of those to the school, and the principals are able to put these backpacks with all kinds of extra supplies for any family in need. The location of that is 33 Payne Street. It's running from August 21st through the 23rd. There's also a Target registry if you wanted to do that. And they're also collecting monetary donations for the annual Amy Gallagher Washington, D.C. Fund. The Winthrop High School Drama Society is hosting a 20% night at 90 Degrees on August 13th. That's this Wednesday, from 4 o'clock to close. Lots of great raffles going to be happening there. The proceeds are going to benefit the fall musical, Hadestown, the Teen Edition. Those performances are going to be on November 13th, 14th, and 15th at the Neil Shapiro Center at the high school. And the Winthrop High School cheerleaders took on Spirit Pro Camp this weekend. I got to witness a bunch of the girls coming home. They could barely walk because they were exhausted. It was 2 days and 18 hours of skill building, bonding, and hard work and fun. Winthrop won the Pro Award, donating all of their money to a charity of their choice, and they chose the Tommy Bailey Hope Foundation, which was really a great choice for them. But I did happen to see the girls all rolling out of a car in front of my house because someone lives next door, and there was some limping and exhaustion going on. But it was really it was a good event for the kids, a lot of team building, and all of the cheerleaders went, which was great.
Excellent. Any other public relations?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
Lisa, if you could, any update on crossing guard situation, like
Oh, yeah.
going into the,
Oh.
if people
Pretty-
want to look
Pretty
into it?
status, yeah. We'll put something out, usually this is the time of the year that we do that, we'll put it on Facebook, because that's typically where people find it, for knowing that we have need for that. Crossing guard substitutes, we can always use 7D licensed van drivers, so we'll get that out this week. We get very little back. We have a couple of people that are really good and kind of take it on every year. But we'll take people part-time, full-time, if you can do 1 day, if you can do 2 days. I did see that down at McGee's Corner, there's a lot of work going on with getting those lights fixed. That's a super concerning area for kids crossing. I would say the most concerning area for kids crossing is right here, in front of the police station and Lucky, and the town hall. I happen to sit in the window. My window faces that area, and I can tell you there's probably 20 to 30 cars a day that never stop at one of the 4 stop signs, and not even roll through, just go through. So that's a scary spot for our kids. We talk to them about that, especially, obviously, at the Cummings School, because those are the kids that are crossing there. That's a major issue for us. And now that the bus goes down Walden Street, that's another, I have a little bit of bus phobia for personal reasons, so that's another area that is a concern to us. Not to say any spaces down the beach area or up the Highlands are not important, but those are the places that if we can get a couple more people, we can focus them to be there. And again, we'll take you 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. We can kind of make mornings only, afternoons. You do have to come when it rains. We give you a nice, cute little vest, but, yeah, we'll take anybody.
Very good.
Okay, very good. Any other public relations? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to go into an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. And I anticipate that we will adjourn immediately following executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. May I have,
Roll.
all those in favor? Oh, roll call, yes. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Lettieri?
Yes.
Mr. Matucci?
Yes.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
Mr. Purenton?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes. We are in executive session.